So you've almost certainly had this experience, right? You go online, you need something very specific, a particular part, maybe a local service, a real-time price, and you're just met with this wall of sponsored junk.
Yeah, or results that are months old or, links to massive companies you weren't even looking for.
Exactly. And that feeling, that's really the problem we're diving into today. Our source material makes a pretty bold argument that the internet we use for basic commerce is simply broken.
It's inefficient, yeah. And the results are fundamentally biased. The whole system is just stacked in favor of a few advertising giants.
And not you, the consumer.
Right. And that's our starting point. Our mission in this deep dive is to really examine the claims of a project called the Ethical Web Search Platform, or EWS.
EWS, okay.
And this is a system that is proposing a pretty radical re-engineering of how search works. They claim to offer a new way to search that gets at the root of the problem.
Which they define as what, exactly?
Pervasive data abuse, for one. Also, the kind of SEO manipulation that just corrupts results. And a system that really just locks out small local businesses.
So for our deep dive today, we've got a pretty detailed stack of sources. There's a foundational PDF that lays out the platform's mechanics, and we also have transcripts from presentations that pitch EWS as this profoundly disruptive force.
They're not just aiming to be a better search engine. They're positioning this as a structural replacement.
So let's start there. Let's unpack exactly how broken the current system really is, according to them.
Well, according to the material, the core failure is the foundation itself, the ad tech model.
Ad tech.
Yeah, the main critique is that modern search, and let's be honest, we're mostly talking about Google, it hasn't really changed its core methodology in over 25 years.
That's incredible to think about.
It is. And crucially, they remind us that when Google started, it was explicitly for information sharing. It was never built to be a huge commercial advertising machine.
Which means the second it pivoted to an ad model, the whole system became conflicted.
Inherently conflicted. We actually found this pretty remarkable quote in the source material from Google's founders, Sergey Brin and Larry Page, all the way back in 1997.
What did they say?
They said, and this is a direct quote, "We expect that advertising-funded search engines will be inherently biased towards the advertisers and away from the needs of the consumers."
Wow. So they predicted the exact flaw that now defines their entire business.
It's chilling, right? And that bias means the current system isn't just described as competitive, but as dysfunctional and corrupt. It means consumers put up with data harvesting, and it pushes all this low-quality clickbait content to the top.
And I imagine it creates massive barriers for small businesses.
That's the biggest failure they frame. If every search result is filtered through ad revenue, a local shop can't possibly compete with the deep pockets of a global brand that can spend millions on SEO and ads. It just diminishes local economies.
Right. And this whole model is apparently under threat.
Oh, from multiple angles. And we're not just talking small rivals. The competition is existential. You've got large language models, LLMs.
Like ChatGPT, Claude.
Exactly, which could bypass traditional search altogether. And then there are the vertical market apps, think Uber Eats, Hotels.com, which carve out these huge niches but charge insane fees.
20–30% per order sometimes.
Creating these very expensive private silos of information.
The sources also point to a darker angle to this failure.
They do. They argue that any platform focused on maximizing eyeballs and clicks is inherently unstable. It's too easy for bad actors. And they specifically name Russia, China, and Iran to exploit them, to spread disinformation and discredit democracies.
Because the profit incentive just creates that weakness.
Verification becomes secondary to engagement.
Yeah. Okay, so if that's the diagnosis, a biased, restrictive, and corrupted system, what's the blueprint for the fix? How do you build a system that's just for commerce without all those messed up incentives?
The ethical web search platform solution really comes down to two core ideas. First, they want to separate the search for information from the search for goods and services.
Okay, that makes sense.
Second, their whole elevator pitch is about building a global network of what they call community super apps.
Community super apps, can you, ground that for us? How should we visualize that working?
Think of it like this. Imagine your local town, your neighborhood, having its own custom Amazon app. A single place to find local goods, mechanics, food delivery, whatever.
Okay.
But the key is, while that app, that interface, feels totally local, it's connected to one single global database. They want to become the Amazon marketplace for services.
So the local app is the front door, but the global database is the engine. How does that translate to better search results for me, the consumer?
It's all about precision and fairness. EWS results are based purely on relevance and quality. They're basically immune to SEO games. But the real technical jump is how they search.
How so?
EWS conducts searches at the inventory level, not the website level.
Okay, what's the practical difference? Website versus inventory level.
Website level search gives you a link, it sends you to a home page, and then you have to hunt for what you need.
Right.
Inventory level search gives you real-time data. It tells you specific stock counts, the current price, immediate availability, precise location. If you search for a car part, you don't get a link to a dealer site. You get the location and inventory tag for that exact part in stock right now.
That sounds incredibly useful, but it must require a very, very structured way of organizing data.
Precisely.
Well,
And that structure is built around their key piece of IP, U.S. patent number 109777387.
and the innovation there is what?
It's a standardized no-code search flow. Basically, it's a set of simple building blocks that any local merchant can use. It removes the need for web developers or SEO experts. The structure itself prevents the manipulation.
How does it do that?
By standardizing the input. A search for a product has to be built from these precise subqueries. Some are mandatory like category and subcategory, and some are optional, like location, availability dates, and so on.
Ah, so there's no black box algorithm to trick.
Exactly. The results are just a direct match between the merchant's inventory data and your structured query. It forces fairness into the system.
And this is called the Ethical Web Search Platform. So what's the promise on the consumer data side of things?
Complete and total anonymity. The platform is designed so you don't register. There is zero behavioral data tracking. Your privacy is secure because there's simply no personal data to collect in the first place when you're just looking for goods and services.
What's really fascinating here is how the sources pivot from talking about ethical search to this massive claim that this platform is essential for the future of AI.
I mean, it's an audacious claim. They call EWS the savior of AI.
Okay, we definitely need to unpack that.
Right. So generative AI's biggest problem right now is the quality of its training data. LLMs make mistakes. They hallucinate because their data is scraped from the current internet, which, as the sources point out, contains a lot of lies.
Which is why you see companies like OpenAI cutting deals with the Wall Street Journal or the Financial Times. They're desperate for reliable, vetted data.
And EWS argues their platform solves this exact problem, but for commercial data. By providing this global database of real-time verified inventory updated by the merchants themselves.
The actual people selling the stuff.
Yes. They claim this will become the most valuable AI database in the world for supply chains. They're literally building the Wikidata of goods or services. It's verifiable ground truth for commerce.
But savior of AI that's a huge phrase. Why is this essential and not just, a very useful, high-quality database?
It comes down to AI's second biggest challenge, monetization. How do you make money with it? The current ad tech model just doesn't work with generative AI, so EWS offers a fundamentally new model. Consumers get the service for free, but merchants pay a flat monthly subscription fee for access.
So it's not cost per click, it's not cost per order, it's a flat subscription.
And that's the huge financial and ethical leap.
Yeah, that changes everything.
It's the defining part. You eliminate the cost per click incentive, so you eliminate the motivation to drive junk traffic or harvest data. It levels the playing field completely. Small businesses can compete because it's about the quality of their service, not their marketing budget.
So given that value, the sources basically treat an acquisition as what? Inevitable.
Pretty much. They compare it to a high-value pharma startup. The obvious buyers would be OpenAI, Amazon, Anthropic, someone like that.
And the valuation of the IP reflects that, I take it.
It does. That patent, the one we mentioned, was independently valued at $4.7 billion in an acquisition scenario. And the sources are quick to add that with the AI boom since then, it's now worth an order of magnitude higher.
So the conclusion they draw is pretty bold.
Extremely. They say whoever owns this technology owns the future of AI commerce.
Okay, so if the patent has that kind of centralized value, the ownership structure they propose seems deliberately contradictory. Let's get into the decentralized distribution model and how that's supposed to shift power back to local communities.
Yeah, the whole architecture is designed to decentralize control, service, and especially revenue. The goal is this globally connected network of locally managed super apps where the local operators have real skin in the game.
And they have a real-world proof of concept for this, right? A food delivery service done for Online Eats.
This is where the vision really hits the road. Dunfermline Eats is a community app in a Scottish town of about 50,000 people. It competes directly with giants like Just Eat.
And the results.
Are staggering. They have 40,000 active app users. That's the vast majority of the population choosing the local option over the global one.
40,000. That's incredible saturation. How did they pull that off with no advertising?
They just leverage the model. The local app charges restaurants half of what the big guys charge. That's a huge incentive. And critically, they pay their suppliers the next day, not a week later.
So the suppliers themselves become the marketing team.
Exactly. The marketing is purely word of mouth and signs at the point of sale. It just proves that if you offer a better, cheaper, and faster service, the community will switch.
And that ties into what they call their picks and shovels strategy for the revenue share. How does that work? How does the money flow back to the local operator?
The revenue split is aggressively skewed toward the local party. EWS, the parent company, retains 20% as a license fee for the tech.
And the other 80%.
The community licensee, the local operator running the app, keeps a massive 80% of the revenue.
So they're not just a middleman. They're the ones ensuring the quality of the data that EWS wants to sell to the AI world?
That's it, exactly. That 80% covers their work. Recruiting suppliers, local marketing, handling complaints, consumer protection. They are the essential human link ensuring the data flowing into the global system is real-time and accurate.
The source material calls it renting picks and shovels to gold miners and keeping 20% of the gold.
That's a pretty good analogy.
So to pull this all together for a second, the Ethical Web Search platform is proposing a complete overhaul. It's built on verifiable data, consumer anonymity, and this subscription model for fairness.
And the sources suggest this will profoundly change the internet, really. It moves power and money away from ad tech monopolies and gives it to local operators who are financially invested in providing a good, ethical local service.
If you connect all those dots, the creators clearly believe they hold the central keys to the future of commercial AI.
They've uncoupled search results from ad bias and built a machine for real-time, verified commercial data. Yeah, that's exactly what the next generation of LLMs need to become accurate economic tools, not just chatbots.
So here's the final thought for you to take away. The source material is very clear. The core patent is valued in the billions, and the creators claim whoever owns these patents and IP will control the future of AI. But then you have this bold decentralization model where the core platform only takes 20%, while thousands of local operators control 80% of the revenue, and critically, the actual real-time data input. So where does the true long-term value really lie? Is it in the patent and the central AI platform, or is it with those local operators who control the quality and flow of that critical monetizable data? Something for you to mull or explore on your own.